From the Massachusetts Broadcasters Station of the Year, this is Western Mass News at 6 p.m.
Western Massachusetts is surging right now.
Coming up, an exclusive interview with the president and CEO of Bay State Health, the latest on the medical center's recent COVID outbreak, and his thoughts on upcoming vaccines.
He was definitely outgoing. He was funny. He was just always talking.
And a local football team mourning the loss of one of their own after learning the teen died in what police called a drug racing crash last month.
Also, it could have been something much worse. A local mom reveals what it was like when someone attempted to act as her son in an emergency over the phone. Western Mass News getting exclusive new information on the COVID-19 outbreak at Bay State Medical Center. Good Friday evening, everyone. Welcome to Western Mass News at 6. I'm Chris Pisano.
And I'm Jordyn Jagolinzer. Plus, the president and CEO of Bay State Health is sharing new insights with Western Mass News reporter Jordan McCool regarding the state of the hospital at this point, along with vaccine breakthroughs and concerns heading into the holidays.
I spoke with Bay State Health President and CEO Mark Kerouac exclusively Friday. He tells me the case count in their COVID-19 outbreak has now increased to more than 30 employees and 9 patients testing positive, and there are many, many more in quarantine.
We've got hundreds of people quarantined waiting for their test results to come back, so there may be a few more positives that come to light, but it's something very serious. We've done deep cleaning of the unit, and there's no more evidence for any transmission.
Dr. Kerouac did not disclose the unit of the hospital where the cluster originated earlier this month. But he did tell Western Mass News the latest theory in their contact tracing efforts indicate it could have come from a patient who was transferred into Bay State from another hospital. He says the patient reportedly tested negative for the virus and then tested positive a few days later. Kerouac says this supports the CDC recent guidance indicating that a negative test result doesn't mean a person can't spread the virus.
Testing is certainly part of protecting yourself, but it's not the whole thing. It's really kind of a package that you've got to put together, and testing is part of a defense strategy, but it can't be the whole thing.
As this outbreak is closely monitored, Dr. Kerouac says he has his eye on the growing case numbers overall in the community.
Western Massachusetts is surging right now.
He says statewide statistics show the number of people in the hospital has tripled, and numbers have increased at Bay State.
We were in the 30s and 40s in October, and we got as high as 90 a week ago. Today, thankfully, we're down at 70. I hope that's a trend.
Kerouac says in April, the hospital had 180 patients with 40 in the ICU, so they have room for more patients if needed. The hospital currently has 3 COVID-19 units.
We would be able to expand to about 230 at the Springfield campus and a couple of hundred more likely in our community hospital. So we still have plenty of headroom in terms of bed space.
We also talked about a coronavirus vaccine as companies are showing promising results.
It means that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, a very bright light, and at least 2 lights, maybe even 3 or 4.
He's talking about Pfizer moving forward with its vaccine authorization process, planning to take it to the FDA for emergency use authorization on Friday.
It wouldn't surprise me at all in January if we actually had 4 different vaccines approved and on the market, which is important because we need to really ramp up production very, very fast.
And Bay State is already working on a plan to distribute the vaccine.
We have purchased a number of those ultra cold freezers in case it turns out that the Pfizer vaccine is the one we get access to.
In their plan, the vaccine would first be distributed to high-risk individuals and frontline caregivers, second to less high-risk individuals and other essential workers, and third to the general public.
It will be a kind of phased distribution, and the speed of the phasing is going to depend on how much vaccine they can make and how many different vaccines are available.
He says roughly 20 million people could be vaccinated by late December, early January. But will people actually get the vaccine? Dr. Kerouac says surveys have shown Americans are 50-50 on the issue.
I think with the new administration and with the scientists saying we think this is okay, and particularly if, let's say Bay State endorses a vaccine and your doctor says that the vaccine is safe, and you know that some friends of yours have gotten it, I think that 50% number is probably pretty soft and may well come down once we start getting experience with it.
And as the holiday season kicks off next week, Dr. Kerouac has some concerns.
It worries me a lot that we've seen roughly a doubling in inpatient cases just before a time when people are likely to be getting together for Thanksgiving.
If you are gathering with family, he says wear a mask when you aren't eating and avoid hugging and kissing family members.
It makes for a pretty strange holiday celebration, but you don't really want to have your holiday celebration become a super spreader event either.
Kerouac says people should really consider a virtual get-together or small gathering this holiday.
I think because of Thanksgiving and Christmas, it will get worse before it gets better. I don't think it'll be as bad as it was in April, but it'll get pretty bad. And then as the vaccine knocks down the number of potential targets for the virus, will start slowly emerging.
Dr. Kerouac says the same message rings true as we head into the holidays. Continue to wear your mask, wash your hands, and socially distance from others. For Western Mass News, I'm Jordan McCool.
We're following breaking news out of Boston as the state has updated its travel advisory list. As of tomorrow, the Massachusetts Department of Health says it is removing Maine and New Hampshire from its low-risk state list. At this point, the only states not considered high risk by Massachusetts is Vermont and Hawaii. Travelers arriving from any other state are expected to fill out a form, quarantine for 14 days, or produce a negative COVID test.
Taking a look now at the latest coronavirus numbers in the state over the past 5 days. The Mass Department of Public Health reporting 2,228 new cases today. That brings our total number of confirmed cases in the Bay State to 194,338. The state also reporting 34 more deaths. The statewide death toll now stands at 10,238. And for more coverage on the coronavirus pandemic, including a list of free testing sites in our area, log on to our free Western Mass News streaming app.
And now to an exclusive story you'll only see here on Western Mass News. A local college football team is remembering a player who died in what police say was a drag racing accident in Springfield.
And that crash happening less than a month ago. A Western Mass News reporter, Kayla Burton, joins us now live from AIC after speaking with members of the football team. Kayla?
Chris and Jordan, two teenagers died back on October 23rd after police say the teens were drag racing and crashed on Plumtree Road in Springfield. Now, one of the teens was 19-year-old Michael Rayford, who's also a freshman football player here at American International College. Now, I spoke with both players and coaches from AIC earlier today who tell me Rayford will never be forgotten.
At first, I was just in shock.
Devastating news leaves the American International College football team mourning the loss of freshman cornerback Michael Rayford after the team was told Rayford died on October 23rd due to a drag racing car accident in Springfield.
I mean, to find out like one of your brothers, something happened to them, that's like a state of shock and a little bit of disbelief, to be honest.
AIC graduate assistant and coach Mike Ryan Moford tells Western Mass News he built a close relationship with Rayford, and not seeing his smile on the field anymore hits him hard.
Practice does feel different because he was somebody I talked to him like every day, because when we were practicing he wasn't cleared yet, so he'd be on the sideline, and it was the point where we would have like a first group practice, a second group practice, so I would have time to talk to him on the sideline because he would just always be there, and I talked to him every day, and it was just weird not having him on the sideline to talk to the following week.
Even though he was a freshman, I think he really had a big impact on everybody here. I mean, Mike was a guy, even though he wasn't practicing, he was kind of like the life of the team.
And all of them could agree, Rayford was constantly putting a smile on everyone's face.
He was definitely outgoing. He was funny. Like, he was just always talking. Like, I don't even know why or how we just started talking, but I just started talking to him one day, and we just talked every day.
The team gathered for a candlelit vigil, honoring Rayford soon after his passing. Assistant coach Shane Gaines says you can definitely see the team coming together stronger than ever.
When it comes to our brother being down, in this case, passing away, it just show how close we were, how strong people were, and all the differences you may have had with somebody just was out the window at that point.
And though football means the world to these guys, Gaines says the bigger message as a coach to the team, to appreciate every moment they have in front of them.
How short life can be, and how we have to value the time we have, and just always, checking on a brother. Live your life to the fullest, because accidents happen, freak accidents happen and stuff like that. So I think, my message to the players is just always be safe and do what's right.
Both players and coaches tell me every time they step foot on this football field, it's going to be for Rayford. Coming up later on Western Mass News tonight, you'll hear more from the team and how they plan to honor Rayford for the upcoming season. Live in Springfield, Kayla Burton, Western Mass News.